ఇది ఇది ఓకే.
Is logged in.
ఇందులో ఏంటో
Sorry for the late. Usually I start at 6:05, 6:05 less than 6:05 only. I will start my session. Yeah. This class is
ఇదివరకే
plus. Yeah, you want where it is.
టైం 9:10
User.
చూసేసి ఒక నేను 100 చేసిన
Yeah.
9:10
UI.
పేమెంట్ చేసి
This
మళ్ళీ
class
ఒకసారి
is yeah.
కానీ మళ్ళీ అన్ని 100 చేస్తున్నాం కదా అని
Here UI here it is user interface. We can create user interactive page by using this interface. Yeah, we can create user interactive page. What is this user interface? What is this user interactive page? See here, user interface here. When you enter any URL in the browser, suppose if you enter Facebook.com. Here, whenever we enter Facebook.com, you can see that Facebook homepage of our application. Here, you can see that Facebook homepage of our application. In this time, we can ask the user to enter their email ID and password. Once we click on the submit button, data will be submitted to server. Here, data is submitted to server. Server will connect to database. This type of interactions you can observe here in every server program. Front end always interact with the server page always interact with the database. So this type of interactions we can see in every web page. Here in Gmail, suppose if I enter my email ID and I enter my password. So after entering that email ID and password, once we click on this login button, here login button. Once we click on this login button, that user interface. This is one UI. This UI page will always interact with the server page. This server page always interact with database. These database pages are here: MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle. Like this, any one database page we can use. Here, these database pages are MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle. Any one database page we can store our details. So, what is storing and what is accessing here? If you are creating your account with this UI page, that is here creating our details in the database. So we are inserting whenever we create our account here, create account page of the Facebook. That time you will fill your complete application form here, email ID, first name, last name, all informations you will fill here. After filling it, this will interact with the PHP page. This PHP page will interact with your PHP page or a .NET page or a Java page, any one server page. This server page will interact with the database. This type of interactions you can observe here in every front end to server, server to database. This type of interactions you can observe here in every front end program. Here is our UI page. UI page is interacting with the server page is always interacting with the database. So here, this time what happened here, whenever we submit our data to server, definitely we have to interact with the we have to store our details or access our details from database. So database is very important for us to storing our data and accessing our data. Okay. Here this server page, what it will do here, this server page is connected to database. Database will back it input to server page. So server page is a mediator to interact with the front end page to database. See here, I want to log in for my Facebook. I'll write here Facebook login. Here you can see that Facebook login. Under this, here Facebook login, you can see it. So this time you can see that how to see that Facebook login page. Here this is my create account page. In this create account page, whenever we submit our data, here I am submitting my data here. So this time here I am creating my account with this Facebook. So once I click on the submit button of this Facebook, this data will reach to submit. Once I click on the submit button of this Facebook, this data will reach to submit. Server will store our data in the database. Here, this submit, once you click on submit button, this front end page is interact with server. Server will store our data in the database. So database, what it will do? Yeah, front end page is interacting with the server page. So server is interacting with database. So in this interaction time, whenever our front end page is interacting with the server page, so that time, that server page, what it will do here, the server page will store our data in database or access our data from the database. So here, if I already existing user without any writing data, if I submit it, I'll get this error. So this is one complete user interactive page, any web page, not only text, any web page. If you are submitting any data here, so it always interact with the server. Here from this URL you can understand here loading.php. So it is one content page. Once I click submit button, after filling all these details, once I click submit button, it is total data will reach to loading.php. Means this front end page is interacting with a PHP page. So this is one URL example for front end is interacting with a here front end page is always interacting with here. This is one example here. The front end page UI page is always interacting with a server page. This server page always interacts with database. Here this is the application. Here front end page we can develop it by following these all programs: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, here jQuery, here jQuery, Ajax, here Bootstrap, here lessons as, then
లాగిన్ అవడం లేదంటే
responsive design,
లాగిన్ అటెంప్ట్స్ ఎక్కువనే అయ్యాయి 50 కంటే ఎక్కువ ఉంటే లాగిన్ అవ్వలేదు అండ్ డివైస్ అయినా చేంజ్ చేసుకోవాలి.
real time project and explain to you this
డివైస్ అంటే అది కూడా క్లియర్
every Saturday I'll go with the one real time project session. Real time project. So real time project, one implementation of project and explain to you on the topic and the topic related task I'll give to you. So you have to complete the task and send your information to us. So that way we have to. So this is our UI page. UI is interacting with the server page. Server is connecting to database. These all interactions are going to the front end page. This UI page always interacting with the server page. Server is interacting with the database. This type of interactions you can observe here in every front end to server, server to database. Here this server page, what happened here, that server page, here that server page we can able to develop it by, here this is our server page, that server page we can able to develop it by MySQL or SQL server or Oracle. So like this, any one PHP, .NET, any one server programming we use. Here, PHP page or a Java page or a .NET. Any one server programming you can use it here to create this server. To create this type of server programming, you have to use any one server. That way we
ఆయన మెయిల్ అక్కడ పేస్ట్ చేసి లాగిన్ ఇష్యూ అని జస్ట్ అది మనకు క్లియర్ అవ్వలేదు. ఇది సేమ్ యాజ్ ఇట్ ఇస్ కాపీ చేయండి. మనకు రెండే ఇష్యూ
చేయాలి. This server page we can able to develop it by any one server program. So just now I observed here this PHP page is one example here. Front end page is developed by UI programming. Those all involved with all these. Along with this, present development is going on in the framework level. This is interface content, code content. Okay, here to develop that user interactive page, we always use, along with these all, we have to use any one front end page and server page and database, right? So to create this type of environment, we have to know about this server page is interacting with a database. So these all interactions, whatever we are creating here, these all to create these all interactions, we have to use along with this all content, we have to learn any Angular or React or Node.js. If you know that, then it will be easy to enter into the UI world. In UI programming, if you want to be a developer, you have to know all these topics. Along with that, if you know any one framework, then it will be helpful to join as a front-end developer. Okay. Here we are in front-end programming. To create this front-end programming, what all required, we can see. User interface here. This user interface is connecting with a server page. A server is connected with database. So databases are here. We no need to learn any database, any server programming. Why? Because if you are a full stack developer, then only you have to know any one database, any one server programming. If you want to be a front-end developer, you can go with any one framework of front-end. So server side, they are looking for framework developers, PHP, Laravel framework, Java, Spring Hibernate framework, .NET related frameworks. So everywhere they are looking for the framework level programmers. Here in front end, they are looking for the framework programmers. Here who know Angular or React or Node.js. Here JavaScript frameworks. Here JavaScript, in JavaScript we can learn here. This is separate codes, Angular or React.js or Node.js. If you know any one framework, then it will be helpful to join as a server side developer. So front end, front end developer, front end, only front end. If you want to be a full stack developer, you have to know server and the server related framework and database and web services. If you know all those, then only you can be a developer, full stack developer. Full stack developers headache is too much. They have to take care of everything, front-end errors, server errors, database errors, whatever the connection. So we will make all the connections, it should run properly. Otherwise, we cannot run proper output for the client. So everywhere, every field, they are looking for the framework developers. So here, whatever I wrote here, this is our front-end programming. This our programming always interact with the database. Database always interact with front-end page is always interacting with a server page. A server is interacting with database. Database is interacting with front-end page. These all interactions here, to and fro interactions, you can observe here in the front-end programming. Okay. This time here, every time what we do here, server is interacting here. Front-end page is interacting with a server. Server always interacts with database. So in this interaction pages, here what happened here, whenever we submit our data to server, definitely we'll get some result. See, if I enter my proper input here, I can see that next level of the page, inbox page. Already logged in for this go to training. You can see here in this go to training how the interaction is. Here in this go to training link, you can see that here this is our front end page. I already log in for this. See what all the links are available, how many students are registered. These all tabular information coming from server page. This total tabular information is coming from server page. This server page will access this total database results, database data from this data, total columns, all these columns of data is connected to server page. That server is interacting with a database. Those all interactions you can observe here in every front-end page. Front-end interact with the server, server interact with the database. Those all interactions you can observe here in every front-end program. Here we are interacting with the application here, Facebook application. This Facebook application we can develop it like this. Here server programming here, front-end page is interacting with the server, server interacting with database. These all interactions you can observe here. If this is our front-end programming, this front-end programming is interacting to server, server interacting to database. These all interactions you can observe here in every front-end programming. So here as of now I am going to explain these all topics in the next 2 months. Almost 40 to 45 hours session, Monday to Friday topic session. Total duration I am going to cover our topics on So final achievement, what we can achieve after this 2 months of time, 45 hours or 2 months of time. You can see here one attractive user. Yes, please mute. You can see that some attractive user interfaces you can see here. Here ABC drinks. You will see drinks site here. On that site you will see that every loading time, this is one drink. Every loading time, every refreshment time, that web page will change its theme. See here, every refreshment time, that changes theme of the application is changing. Complete theme of the application is changing here for every refreshment time. So that is possible by our program. See, color, complete theme is changing, not only color, complete theme is changing here. So once again, if I refresh it, see how it is changing. This way, we can create our front-end page. So always front-end page is interacting with the server page, the server is interacting with the database. So every refreshment time, that application is changing its theme. So this is, see, if I click go down, see here, I am clicking down button of my application. See, content is coming up, scan is coming in the front of the application. Front and coming in Z dimension, X, Y, Z axis time. Z dimension, it is looking like it is coming forward from the screen. Okay, here means X, Y axis, from the screen only X, Y axis, and this is Z axis. See here, it is sitting on one layer and content also going up. This type of interactions you can observe here in every front-end program. Not only the same interactions, this type of application development we can do it with our front-end. Here itself it is changing here. This is with Ajax. Only number, page number is changing and content is changing in this white color. But it is not refreshing my entire URL. It is not changing my URL. But I can see all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. So this is with Ajax code. Here we'll learn one by one each and every topic, whatever is involved in any application. I'll show you with the sample examples and I'll show you an implementation. I'll take one URL from the website, from Google, any one URL, will implement it from the scratch. How to use Bootstrap, how to use HTML, how to use CSS. So each and every topic, how to use it, I'll explain to you with a real-time implementation. After completion of these all topics, you can go for any framework programming. Other faculties conducting framework classes. So you can go for any framework programming. In that framework programming, you can understand how you can implement it. Here, JavaScript framework programming. If you know any one framework, JavaScript framework, then you can stick with the front-end. If you want to be a front-end developer, you have to know any one framework, then it will be helpful to join the So this is totally about the front-end programming. And this front-end programming, we are going to see how we can interact our application without programming. Those all you can understand here with this program. Next, here we are interacting with the front-end programming here. Front-end, how it is interacting with the server. Server, how it is interacting with the database. We observe what all involving in this application. I'll show you. Here, this is one ring site. When I click down, but here you can see that every number it is changing here. Content is changing here with our program. So 1, 2, 3 pages I can read it here. Here 1, 2, 3 pages I can read it here and this review page. Okay. This way I can write my review here. See here, directly slide up, slide down effect here. Ask you a question. Here also it is slide up, slide down effect. This we can create it with our front-end program. These all colors it is showing here. When you right click and inspect element here, you can see that how the application was developed. Here If you right click and inspect element on the application, you can see that how the web page was developed. Here you can see that here doc type HTML head and body. Here doc type, here it is document type, HTML tag, head tag and body tag. If I remove the body tag, just delete the body tag. See here, you cannot see any content here. See, you cannot see any content here if I remove the body. So once again, I can refresh. Here, refresh. So now you can see that here, if you right click and inspect element here, right click and inspect element here, you can see that console here. So here in elements, you can see that if I don't write the body tag, you cannot see any content here. If I don't write the head tag, delete this head tag. See, I deleted that head tag, you cannot see any content. See that output is coming.
Password change.
You cannot see any content here if I delete the head tag. So body tag. If I delete the head tag, see here how much big arrow symbols and big size image. Here some glass symbol. Here images, very big size images you can see here in the application. See, all are displaying, but there is no proper order for this. Every content it is displaying here, but there is no proper output for alignment for the application. There is no proper alignment for the application if I don't write the head tag. So inside the head tag, we are writing here CSS code, JavaScript code, jQuery code, Ajax code. Those all codes we write it inside. Inside this head only we can write it CSS code, Ajax code. Those all codes we write it inside the head. So this way we can develop our output. Here all front-end programming here. Front-end is always interacting with the server always interact with database. But every HTML application, if you check it here, any HTML application you can check it here. Every HTML application is developed by here HTML, here doc type HTML, here root tag as HTML start, HTML close. Here itself you can see that head start and close and body start. You can see that head tag and headings. So one by one tags we are going to see completely HTML for the next 10 days. So HTML4 first I'll explain under this UI program. HTML4. Every day once that particular topic is over, after that topic I'll explain to you how to implement that particular topic in the real time. How to use this particular topic in the real time I'll explain to you. First few days I'll go for HTML4. Here our order of our web UI content. Here web UI codes content. Here whatever I'm going to teach you, these all codes content I'm teaching. HTML4 and 5, 4 and then CSS2. First 10 days HTML4. Next 1 week to 10 days CSS2. Next JavaScript to almost 20 hours. Major duration, half of our duration is set for JavaScript. In JavaScript, I'll explain to you core concepts, advanced concepts, and then object-oriented programming, closures, prototype, everything related to JavaScript, I'll explain. Here, after that, I'll move to the jQuery. HTML5. In HTML5, to write few tags, we have to use the writing of few tags, we have to use the tag-based programming. HTML is completely a tag-based programming. So we'll use some tags here, HTML5 tags, by that we can execute. Here next we'll go for CSS3. Next we'll go for jQuery. Here jQuery. Next one here Ajax. Here Ajax. So next 5 days, next 6 days, next like that will continue. Here bootstrap, then lessons. Here less programming and SAS programming. Here jQuery, HTML5, CSS3, jQuery, Ajax, bootstrap, lessons. So these all topics I am going to cover you in our web UI programming. Here in our web UI codes content, I am going to cover these all topics. So in this, here HTML 4 and 5, CSS 2 and 3, JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax. Here these all topics I am going to cover in our web UI codes. Here in JavaScript, I'll explain to you how to connect it with the JavaScript, how to execute our program. Those all I'll explain to you in this JavaScript. Okay, here that way I'll execute my programs, that way only I'll develop my option. Here in this course content, here HTML basically creates the content of the web page. Just now we observed here every web page is started with the standard code. Every web page is starting with a doc type, HTML, height and width. So in between less than and greater than whatever code we write it, that is what here HTML. HTML is a hypertext markup language. It is completely a tag-based program. So if I write it here 1.html, that 1.html I can easily develop it for my application. Okay, if I am writing here 1.html, this 1.html is used to create our application here, and this 1.html is always used to write our HTML code. This HTML code is the HTML standard code. Inside this HTML page only, we are going to add CSS code, we are going to add JavaScript. So, in tomorrow's session, what I'll do, I'll explain how to write HTML. Real-time project, I'll open one website, I'll design it as it is. So, in front of you, from the scratch. Designing part. Front end, that application, home page, about page, login page, create account page. Like that, one by one pages, all how to create it, I'll show you in front of you. So by that, you can understand how to use UI programming. We are discussing here. This is what here HTML page is connected, or HTML page we can write like this. Inside this HTML page only, using script tag we write JavaScript code, using style tag we are going to write CSS. So HTML4, CSS3, all codes we can write it inside the HTML page like this. So now you can see that here HTML page is interacting with your UI page is interacting with your server page. So these all interactions you can observe here in every front-end program. In every front-end programming, you can see this type of application. So in this time, what happened here? If you are developing any front-end application, has to submit their details to the server page. Server, so we never interact with any server. Knowledge is required. I'm not going with any complete server, but submitting from the front-end page that input tag, text box, access everyday recordings. Even if you miss your class, you can get it from this. Here this recording will be shared with a number of students who are registered for this course, okay, who are completed their registration. For them I'll add, this is previous batch, like this. Here like this I shared with all the students. Almost 20-25 students will be there. Depends on that attendance. If a few students will come to the class. Here recordings, here you can see that all recordings here. All recordings I uploaded here 20, 52, 53, 54. See programs, here 5 programs, CSS2 programming, all separate. Here all good doc files I have, all doc. Have any in the class, no use, and you can remember. This way we can see that here whatever application we are developing here, that application we can easily develop it with our front-end programming. Here this is one UI. Whatever, if you enter any URL in the browser, whatever you can see in the browser, that is what here front-end. So whatever you can see in matches. This time 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. I started HTML. In HTML4 first topic, few tags are completed. 6 a.m., 6 p.m., 12 p.m. and 9 p.m. it will be after few days. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Rohit. Yeah. Here HTML 4 and 5, CSS 2 and 3 lessons has, and then JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax, Bootstrap lessons has. Here responsive design. Then listen your voice. One real-time project. JavaScript, HTML 4 and 5, CSS 2 and 3, jQuery, Ajax, responsive design, Bootstrap lessons as. And one real-time project I'll explain to you every Saturday session. Monday to Friday I'll take topic session, and every Saturday I'll conduct project session. This way I'll continue. Here I'm discussing front-end programming. Under this front-end programming, yeah, you need backup class for that. You can join today. Today 6 p.m. You can ask Bhavani ma'am. Bhavani Durga Soft organizer. I'll share her number here in this chat window. You contact her. Yeah, assignment I'll give you once the topic is over. Everyday assignment I'll give you, and project session will be every Saturday session. If you are interested to go for examination, I'll conduct exams every Saturday after practicing. After project session, I'll conduct exam. In that exam, you can understand where you are, where is your status and all, means where you are, how you are practicing is going on. Those all you can understand with this. Yeah, by the exam you can understand how your practicing is going on. And real-time implementation. Every time, suppose if I'm explaining table tag, the table tag related practical example where we are using, those all I'll explain to you in the here. Those all I'll explain to you in the class itself. 80% of syllabus. Here 80% of syllabus you can learn here itself. Bhavani ma'am's number I shared in this chat window. Please all of you note down this for the future reference. All link details, class timing, other class timings, when is the demo, what is the drive. Every day I'll share in one drive everyday classes, the drive information, everything you can get it. Everything you can get it from that, and all informations you can get it from that number. Yeah, HTML 4 and 5. Yes, any more doubts? Yeah, you can ask her to join, him or her to join in the same link for 6 a.m. Other link 6 p.m. 4 classes are over for that, 4-5 classes, and other link is 9 p.m. I will give you backup for 6 p.m. that 4-5 classes.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, please.
Yeah, actually she want to join. She was trying from 6 o'clock. It was not coming to her.
Give this number. I'm giving some number here. 34. That how she is trying in the app or
from this app only.
App only. So directly join with the number. I'm sharing one number. This ID she can enter in that meeting ID place where it is asking ID. If she enters directly, she can join. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Here I'm going to cover these all topics in this web UI programming. Here is our front-end programming. In this front-end programming, I'm going to cover these all topics. HTML 4 and 5, CSS 2 and 3. Like this, I'm explaining all the topics. Here, front-end programming here. This is completely a front-end programming. I'm going to discuss HTML 4 and 5. Yeah, number will not, that ID, meeting ID is for only few days, not for all days.
Yes, I didn't say.
Here I'm discussing front-end programming. Under this, HTML 4 and 5, CSS 2 and 3, JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax, responsive design. These all topics I'm going to cover in front-end. But here presently, yes, please mute.
Yesterday I told you like within 1 hour.
Who wants to be a front-end developer? They have to know, along with this, all topics, they have to know any one framework. Angular or React or Node, any one framework, if they know, it will be helpful to join as a front-end developer. Okay, here frameworks. Framework. If you want to be a front-end developer, you have to know any one framework here. That is JavaScript frameworks. Here JavaScript framework. Here the frameworks are here Angular, React.js, Node.js. Like this, any one JS, if they know, then they can be a front-end developer. Not only front-end side, every server side, front-end side, everywhere they are looking for framework developers. Okay, everywhere they are looking for framework developers. Framework development is easy for developing the application. Framework development will be easy for developing our application. So, here is HTML4 and 5, CSS 2 and 3, JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax, responsive design, Bootstrap licenses. These all topics I am going to cover in our course. Saturday. Make you all in mute. Just 1 second. I'll back. What is your question? Framework. Framework will be covered as a separate one. In this course, I am going to take HTML, these all topics what I explained. Yeah, to cover this content, I'll take nearly 40-45 hours of sessions. The framework again, it will take next 40 hours like that. Yeah. Here we are in UI programming. That UI is whatever the web page you can see in the front page of the application, that only we call it as UI. Here, whatever the web page you can see in your application, that only we call it as front-end page or a front part of the application. Whatever you can see here, when you enter any URL in the browser, whatever the web page you can see, that only the front page of our application. Next, we can go for here. Next, I'm going for here to develop this front-end programming. What all required? Here, email ID, password. Once I click sign up button, I can able to log in for my application. So, what all involving here? This is what front-end we understood. So, if I enter the correct email ID, password, then I can log in. If I don't enter any details, it will give you error messages. If I write proper details, I can able to see inbox page. To show that inbox page, it will connect to that server. Server will connect to database. This type of interactions you can observe here in every front-end programming. In every front-end programming, you can see that type of model. Okay, here we are discussing here front-end programming. Under this, if you enter the proper details, then you can log in for our application. If you don't enter the proper details, you cannot log in for that particular application. You will get error messages. That error messages will come from JavaScript. Here, what all involving in this front end, we'll see. Here, front end. Here, if you right click and inspect element here, you can see that web page. Here, doc type HTML head and body. Here we are discussing here doc type HTML head and body. So here itself you can see that output here. Here itself you can see that web page here, doc type, HTML, head and body. Here if I remove the body part of the application, just delete the body. You can see that here head tag is used to write our header information. If I don't write the header tag, what happens? See here I'm removing that head section. See, if I don't write the body tag, you cannot see any content. If I don't write the head tag, if I don't write the body tag, you cannot see any content. If I don't write the head tag, that output will come. Here this way we can develop our output. Here head and body. Head tag is used to write header information, body tag is used to write body part of the application. Now you can see that how we can write that head and body, how we can display our output, you can understand. Here now this is one head and body. Under this, here body tag is used to write body part of the application, head tag is used to write header information. Here doc type HTML, under this we can write it here head and body tag. So now you can see that here body part. If I don't write the body part, just delete. So if you are not writing the body part, you cannot see any content. If you don't write the head part, it is not showing the proper alignment for the application. Content will be there, but there is no proper alignment for the content. See here, I am removing that head tag here, just delete. By that, you cannot see any content. So you can see the content, but there is no proper alignment for this content. No colors, no background, no center alignment. So this way you can see that output here. If I don't write the proper alignment for the application, I am not writing proper alignment for the application. So here this way we can write it here. We can write our output like this. So this way we can execute our program. Here itself I am writing here doc type HTML head and body. This is the basic structure for the HTML page. Here as of now we understood what all involving in the web page. Not only web page, it may be mobile app or a web app or a desktop app. Any application, front end will be there, server code and database. If you are submitting anything from the front end, it always leads to server code, access the data from the database, then it will back it input to front end page. That front end page will give as our output for our program. That way we can develop. Okay? That is the way of execution of the code. Okay. Here doc type HTML head and body, we use it here for creating that application. Next here I am using here doc type HTML head and body, I am using here for creating content of the web page. Next here when I write it here doc type HTML head and body, so here I am developing that HTML application. We always write it here doc type HTML. Under this we write here root tag of HTML start and close like this. Here itself we can write it here head start and close, and here itself we can write it here body tag start and body tag close. This way we can write. Here head tag, this is the standard code for any HTML page. Standard code of HTML page we write like this. Here you can save it this file with 1.html. So this is the standard code of HTML. Where we write our code, where we can execute, we have to use some IDE for writing the code. IDE here it is integrated development environment. Here integrated development environment is the IDE. So this IDE I'll use it here to create our application. Here IDE here Angular or React.js or Node.js. Here Node.js or Vue.js. Here Vue.js, some JS we use it here. Sorry, these are our frameworks. Here VS Code or Sublime Text or Dreamweaver. Here Dreamweaver. Here VS Code, Sublime Text, Dreamweaver or here Autumn. Brackets here like this we have some editors, so many editors we have. It's an integrated development environment. So while writing the code itself, it will give you that related methods and all. So when I write open tag, it will write closing tag. So all these information will come along with our web page. So if I am developing, so I have to use any one IDE. So if I don't use, no problem, you can run, you can execute your program. But if you are writing here, Autumn is a IDE. Yeah, if you don't use this IDE, you can run your program. But here, if you want to run with IDE, if you run with IDE, then it will be easy for development, easy for executing the program. Easy for development, easy for execution of the program. Here I'm explaining here doc type, HTML, head and body. This is totally comes under HTML coding. Here I'm writing here HTML. This is our front end page. Front end page we can develop it with this all HTML coding. Here next we can see here doc type, HTML, head and body. Here we are using here IDE. VS Code, Sublime Text, Dreamweaver, Autumn brackets. Because of all these, you can execute your code. Here next we can write it here. Because of this server code, you can execute your program. So now this server side we have so many frameworks. Here PHP side Laravel is a framework. Java side Spring Boot, Hibernate is a framework. .NET side .NET frameworks we have. And IDE. With PHP, Zend framework and Zend IDE we can use. Eclipse or NetBeans we can use it for Java development IDEs, and .NET, that Microsoft tool will be there. Some IDE will use it to develop .NET application. So everywhere they are looking some IDE. They are using some IDE for easy development. So if you know all these topics, what I explained here, if you know all those topics, then you can develop complete application. Why we use frameworks? One complete application, I can develop it by learning all these topics. But why this framework? Some extra enhancement we have. Single page application. Within the single page, you can display multiple web pages. Like that, NPM server we use it, Node server will install it. So some extra easy development environment, ready-made framework. Framework is a ready-made architecture. Ready-made architecture will be available, so it will give you less time for developing the application. It will give you less time for developing the application. That way we can do it. Here, as of now, we are in front-end programming. To develop this front-end programming, we have to know how to use this front-end programming in developing our application. Here, server code, Java code, database code, all codes we use it here to develop our application. Here, JavaScript is a framework. So in this framework, you can see Angular, Node, React, like that. We can use it some frameworks. Because of that frameworks, we can develop our output. HTML 4 and 5, CSS 2 and 3, JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax, responsive design, Bootstrap, lessons as. These all topics will use it here to develop our output. Okay. Yeah. Here these all topics I am going to cover in our course. But framework will be conducted by other faculty. I am conducting basic course and other faculty is conducting framework classes. But parallelly, if you want to run the framework classes, you have to wait for JavaScript topic here. Once I enter in JavaScript topic, that day onwards, you can parallelly start any one framework. Angular or React or Node. If you know any framework, then it will be helpful to join as a front-end developer. After completion of 2 months or 2.5 3 months, parallelly if you start it, after 15 days, you can start framework. So parallelly if you run both the courses and if you have time, 2 hours, you are 1 hour for UI basic course and 1 hour for UI framework class. So if you spend 2 hours for classes, 2 hours you have to spend it for practice. If you spend 2 hours for practice, then only attend parallelly. Otherwise, don't attend. If you don't practice the class, after completion of the course, you cannot learn the subject. Okay. Here I am discussing framework. And that framework classes are Angular, React, Node, any framework. We can use it here to develop our output. Next one here, HTML. What is a HTML? What is the use of it? And if you learn this all topics, what type of websites we can develop. So I'll show you some attractive user interfaces here. Some attractive user interfaces. Here, use Blink. This is one attractive user interface here, UI front-end page. Here you can see that how the application is showing our output. Here useblink.com, see here. So it is displaying one video here. If I go down button, see I'm clicking down button of my keyboard. See some content will come up. See content is coming up and points are rotating in the 3 dimension. Third dimension, 3-dimensional X, Y, Z axis. Here this type of output we can create it with our front-end program. Here whenever we click useblink.com, when I click down button here, you can see that output like this. See, every time the video is starting. Here video is starting. When I go down and if I start it, again it is starting. So this one, video playing always starts here and the content it is coming in this way. See, if I go down, see now you can see cannot see any content. Now you can see the content. Here content blowing effect. This type of effect we can create it with our front-end programming. Using front-end programming, you can create this type of application. Here, from here onwards, you can scan. See here, mouse scan symbol you can see here. See, normally background black and content is white. If you mouse over here, you can see that background white, content black. This one. Here you can see that content will be like this and here like this. This type of effect we can create it with our application. Here now you can see that here scan code we can write it like this. Next here we can show you that content is moving in right to left direction. Here content will be displayed like this. Here this way we can create our output. We have scan code, QR code all will be there. Here this way we can write. Here scan go. Okay. So this type of attractive user interface we can create it with our front-end programming. Not only like this type anything you can create. Here another one more website. AVEC Drinks is one website. Here I am developing that website here. If you click down button here you can see that if I click down button here, that can will come up and every refreshment time, here I am refreshing my application. Every refreshment time, here complete application structure is changing. Here once again if I refresh it, see how the content is changing here. Here every time content is changing here like this. Okay, means the theme of that application is completely changing. Theme of the application is completely changing here because of this. Okay, so when you click down button here, you can see that, see content will come up. See content is coming up like this. Here content is coming up like this. This type of effect we can create it with our front-end program. Here this type of effect we can create it with our front-end program. This way. Here this way we can create our output. Okay. Here next we can write it here. This type of effect we can create it with our front-end programming. See, when you click up arrow, see third dimension, can is coming up and content is moving backside. Remaining area is transparent. When you completely reach the top end point, So complete clear picture it is showing for us. Background clear picture. See this way. Here this type of event handling all we can develop it with our front-end programming. Here when you click login page, it is separate page. Without entering any details, if you click submit button, you will get definitely error messages. Invalid email address or password, something we are getting as the error message. This error message, I'll get it here without here with login. If I don't enter any details, just if I click login button, I'll get my details with this. Now you can see that how we can implement it. So if I click login button here, you can see that invalid mail address and password. Here, suppose if the details are invalid, that time we have to enter our proper details. If I don't enter the proper details in the email ID and the password, then I cannot see my inbox page. If I enter the proper details, username, password, then only I can see that next page, login page of my application. Next login page of my application, I can show to the user. This way we can execute our code. So whenever we write it here, creating of application, we can do it here, login page here. So once I click login button, I can see that login page of my application. In this time, when I enter my details here, I can see that home page or a login page, whatever I'm creating here, that I can easily develop it and easily interact with my application. That way I can develop it. Here, I'm able to create my account like this and I'm able to implement my output like this. This way we can execute our program. Here next we are going for here front-end page of our application. We can develop it with our programming like this. Next one, how we can create front-end page, this Amazon, this type of web pages, how to develop it we observe. In tomorrow's session, what I'll do, I'll give you 1 or 2 examples on each topic. On each topic, I'll give you 1 or 2 examples. So by that, you can understand how to use those all topics in the live deployment. I'll show you. Live deployment, I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you one real-time example. I'll randomly pick out one URL. I'll develop it in front of you in every Saturday session. But Saturday, I'll cover whatever topic I covered Monday to Friday, that topic only I'll cover it in Saturday session in the project. At the end of the course, we'll completely remove the code and we'll develop it, whatever the last topic. That topic, on the top of all what we use it for real-time development, that topic I'll use it at the end of the course. And Monday to Friday topic session, Saturday is a project session. Project time, if you required examination, I'll conduct exam, alphabets exam, I'll conduct it. You can complete that sheet, I'll send to your mail, or I'll give you in front of this. You can write all the answers here itself in the screen, or you can write it on the paper and you can take a pic and you can send it. Multiple choice questions I'll ask you. By that you can analyze how your practice is going. And then every session I'll upload it in one drive. Here Gmail drive will be created for us. So Durga Soft Organizer will create one Gmail drive. That drive will be shared with us. Here Gmail drive, we can access this drive. You can see that all programs here. These all programs you can practice every day. So by that you can understand how we can implement our implementation, how we can implement our programming, how we can use it in the practice time. And if you miss any session here, by that you can understand here how to write the program and all. Anyway, I'll give you backup. Recordings, everyday recordings will be shared in this drive only. Here recording separate folder, I'll maintain it here. And we can test and separately maintain. These all folders, documents, paint files, programs, we can test and recordings. All will be shared with you. This way I'll continue my class. After completely learning this course, you can definitely you can build your own. If you are zero in programming level, no problem, you can learn this subject. Why? Because if it is Java or .NET or Python, programming skills are required. But for this UI programming, no need. Tag-based programming, everything you can simply learn it here itself in the class. Yeah. Up to now, any doubts?
ఎన్ని కోర్సెస్ ఉన్నారో అన్ని కోర్సెస్ ఆయన
I make you unmute.
ఎన్ని కోర్సెస్ ఉన్నాయో అన్ని టైమ్స్ ఆయన మేలేదు అన్నిసార్లు నెంబర్ ఇది వచ్చేసి యాక్చువల్ ప్రైస్
Yes, if you have any doubt, you can fill in.
యాక్చువల్ ప్రైస్ ఉంటుంది సో అన్ని కోర్సెస్ కలిపి డిస్కౌంట్ ఎంత పడిందో అవి వేసి మార్చి చేయాలి రెండు మళ్ళీ అన్ని కోర్సెస్ కలిపి ఎంత పేమెంట్ చేసిందో అది వేసేయాలి సారీ యాక్చువల్ ప్రైస్ ఈచ్ కోర్స్ ఒక్కొక్కటి వేసేయాలి ఇది సారీ
Yes,
అదే అది
I cannot hear your voice. You can your talking.
ఇప్పుడు నేను చెప్తాను సిలబస్ అంతా డ్రైవ్ చూపించింది డ్రైవ్లో వీడియోస్ అప్లోడ్ చేస్తాను సిలబస్ అది అప్లోడ్ చేస్తాను
Are you asking me?
మండే టు ఫ్రైడే ఏమో క్లాస్ చెప్తాను
No, he is talking with someone.
మనకి ఇక్కడ పేపర్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా అవి
Yes, any more doubts?
ఏం లేదు నిన్న అంటే చాలా ఉన్నాయి కదా అవన్నీ రాసి పెట్టినాము ఎలా ఉంటుంది మన దగ్గర
That's it for today. We'll meet tomorrow 6 a.m. for the continuation of class.
ఇక్కడ మన బుక్స్ ఏవి ఇక్కడికి ఎందుకు బుక్స్ ఇక్కడ మన బుక్స్ ఏవి అక్కడ కూడా లేవు ఇక్కడ కూడా లేవు
We are in web UI. Yesterday we discussed what is the use of HTML and all. Just little bit information we discussed yesterday. Here, next we are going for, here first of all, we discussed that topics. Here under web UI, what I am going to cover, I am explaining web UI technologies. First topic is HTML4. Generally, I'll explain HTML4. Second topic is CSS2, JavaScript. Yeah, fourth one is HTML5. Then fifth one will be CSS3. Then sixth one is jQuery. Yeah, seventh one is Ajax design, responsive design. Then here eighth one is responsive design. And then ninth one will be Bootstrap. Here 10th one will be less and the SAS program. Here lessons. These all comes under our web UI program. Here we are going to see these all topics are comes under web UI program. Here lessons as and finally I'll explain every Saturday and end of the day, end of the course I'll explain project session. So every Saturday I'll conduct project session. Yeah, this way I'll continue my class. So let me save it. 6 a.m. Today's date 16.
Ma'am, you are not visible.
Not visible.
Yes, it's not visible.
You can see my screen. I shared my screen.
I think we're able to
No, I
see
can.
your name issue.
See, you can see my screen, right? Can you see what I am typing?
No.
No. So if not able to see my screen, you can rejoin the session.
Okay.
Here we are discussing web UI technologies here. Under this, these all topics I am going to cover in the web UI. Here under this, I am going to show you how to work with HTML, HTML4 and 5, CSS2 and 3. Here like that, I'll discuss with you whatever topics all comes under this. Here those all I'll explain to you. Here what I discussed yesterday, frameworks. Yeah, okay, not covered all the topics. Okay, so just I explained what all comes under here and IDE. Yeah. Here when I enter any URL in the browser, here I can see one web page here. Suppose if I enter http://www.google.com. So when I enter google.com, I can see that Google home page. So whatever I am searching in the Google, that search result will come from the server page. Here it will, when I enter google.com in the browser, you can see that Google homepage, Google logo, and here itself you can see that one text box and then search. Here once we click on that search item, here data will, here whatever data I'm searching here, that data will go to the server page. Here whatever data I'm searching here, that data will go to the server page. In that server page, what we do here, so if this is our front end page always connects to the server page. This server page, whatever server page we have here, that server page will always connect to, here front end page is connecting to server. This server page always connected to database. These all interactions you can observe here in every front end to server, server to database, server page will give you resultant page for us. Here server page will give you resultant page for us. So this type of interactions you can observe here in every front end program. In every front end programming, you can see that this type of UI pages. Here whatever you can see in the front page, that is user interface, that always interact with your server page. These server pages are PHP pages, Java pages, .NET pages. These all we use it as our server pages. And here itself we can show you database. Databases are here. MySQL is one database, SQL Server is one database, Oracle is one database. Like this, we can use it here, all our databases. Okay, here we have to use some database here. With that database, we can connect. Here, front end page always has to connect to server, server has to connect to database. These all interactions you can see in every web page, not only Google, Facebook, Twitter, any web page, whatever we have, all web pages interact with the server page, the server will interact with database. These all interactions you can observe here in every front-end programming. In every front-end programming, you can observe this type of interactions. This is what we call it as MVC architecture, Model View Controller Architecture. Here view part, whatever I am developing here, MVC, here whatever the view UI part I am developing here, that is view part. Here model view controller. So what is this model? Model we can develop it with our server program. Here UI page we can develop it as a view part. Here controller page, here you can see that it is with server page. This way we can do. So IMVC architecture done, we always use view model controller architecture. This is the basic architecture for any application. It may be a mobile app or a desktop app or a mobile application or front-end application or a server application. Whatever application we have, all applications we follow the same rule. MVC architecture we follow for every application. Okay. MVC, model view controller structure, we use it here for developing our output. So next we are going for MVC architecture. We are using here to develop this type of output. Here to create any front-end page, we have to use view part. It has to connect to the server, server has to connect to database. These all interactions you can observe here in every front-end programming. Here we can show you HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax. These all topics we can see under view part. Okay. Under this view part, you can see this type of all interactions. All interactions you can see in every web page that is possible by UI page. Here UI page we are interacting with the server page. Server will interact with database. Those all interactions you can observe here in every front-end program. So as of now, I am discussing here, this is what here, front-end programming, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax. These all will discuss here under this front-end. Here, now what I am doing here, if I am developing any front-end page of our program, that always has to interact with a server page. Server has to interact with database. These all interactions you can see in every web page. Mobile app, desktop app, or a mobile application, web application, or an app, everywhere we use same rule. Here to develop this view part, So this is what user interface. This is what we are front end page of our application. Front end. So we are developing the front end page by a web page. To develop that front end page, we use this programming HTML. We use HTML, we use CSS, we will use JavaScript, we will use jQuery. Like that, we will use these programmings to develop our output. Here, if you want to develop your application with HTML is a hypertext markup language. It is a hypertext markup language. It is mainly used to write content of the web page. It is a hypertext markup language. It is a markup language, tag-based programming. Here markup, here it is tag-based programming. It's completely a tag-based programming because it has markup language. These tags are here. Tag is here instruction to browser. We can give instruction to the browser in the form of tags. It is completely a tag-based programming. Tag is here instruction to the browser. To develop the front-end page of our application, we are using HTML. See here, this is one front-end. After login, I can see all my list of links. How many links are available for the next coming classes? All the links I can show like this. Okay. Here, I can show you that all the list of links is this. Here, it is showing here GMT time. According to their standard, they will develop that website. So GMT timing it is showing for us. It is not showing ISO timing. GMT timing it is showing for us. What all the past trainings? How many classes I have taken and how many classes recordings are available and what all the previous class links and what all the current class and the future class links. All I am accessing from database. So this web page is interacting with a server page. That server page will interact with database. So from the database, we are accessing these list of data. We are printing in a tabular form. So displaying the data from database using server language, we will access using front end, will display it in a proper format. So main theme of front end programming is if you have any data from the database, that data properly displaying the data properly, that it is possible by front end programming. So we can able to display our data properly by using this front end programming. So we'll learn that. Okay. Here my recordings you can see here, and this my recordings. What all my previous recording for your class, these all recordings I'll download it. See, I'll click download button here. After downloading these recordings, I'll create one drive for you. 6 a.m. drive, 6 p.m. drive, like that. I'll create one Gmail drive for you. Here in that drive, I'll upload all the recordings in one folder. Here recordings in one folder, demo recordings one folder, documents, paint files, programs. In programs, separately, HTML4 programs, HTML5 programs, CSS2 programs, CSS3 programs, like that separate folders I'll create. In that I'll upload all my programs. This way I'll continue. Here I want to continue my program. Here whatever programs I'm explaining with IDE. I'll install Visual Studio Code is my IDE. You can go with VS Code or you can go with Dreamweaver or Sublime Text. Any one IDE you can install from your side. If you want to install any this one here, you can install any one of the IDE. IDE here it is any one IDE. VS Code, Atom, Bracket, Sublime Text, Dreamweaver, Eclipse, NetBeans, any one IDE you can install to write our program. If you want to install this one here, if you want to install VS Code, you can install. So I'll write from my side, I'll write it in VS Code. Visual Studio Code, I'll use it as my front end. Here, development IDE. Here I'll explain each and every programs here. documents, paint files, programs, everything I'll create it in my web page. So documents, HTML, all programs I'll explain to you. Here accordingly I'll explain everything in my application. Here recordings, programs, paint files, documents, everything I'll upload it in the drive. So from the drive only I can access that particular application. So I'm going to access that particular code here. Whatever code I'm explaining here, this particular code, everything I'll upload it here. Paint files, how many paint I used, those all I'll upload. That way I'll continue my class. Okay. Here this drive will be shared with all the registered students, not same drive, your 6 AM drive. Your 6 AM drive will be shared with all the students who are having permission to see this. They only can access my drive. So today, third day of our demonstration. So we are done demos by today. I'll give you brief information of all the topics. Okay, tomorrow I'll start session 1. So HTML4 topic I'll start. HTML4 topic I'll start tomorrow. Class timing will be 6 AM to 7 AM. If you are interested to move half an hour late, I can start 6:30 to 7:30, but not any other time. Yeah. Here for regular time 6 AM to 7 AM only, but if you are waking up late and if you have any issue, I'll arrange it 6:30 to 7, but not more than that. Okay, I have to go to office, so I cannot come late. 6:30 would work. Okay. Or depends on all the students. If all students are ready, well, regular session will start at 6:30. But this week we'll continue in 6 AM only. No change in the time for this week. Next week we'll plan. So drive, if you want this drive, if you want not this drive, 6 AM drive, if you want the drive, complete your registration with Durga Soft organizer Bhavani ma'am. She will, Bhavani ma'am will take care of all recordings, drives, uploads, files, everything. She will take care of it. So you can contact her. She will share you drive with you. Yeah. Here we are in UI programming to create Bhavani ma'am's number. Okay. I'm sharing Bhavani ma'am's number in this chat window. Yeah, HTML is creating hypertext markup language. It is mainly used to write content of the web page. Here, basic content of the web page, we can develop it by content of the web page, we can develop it by using HTML. Using HTML, we can create it content part of the web page. So basic content part of the web page, we can develop it by HTML. So this is Bhavani ma'am's number. You all can contact that number for further reference. Class link, information, so all you can access it from there. All information you can get it from that link, from that number. HTML. So first today I'll explain brief what is MVC, what is front end, what is server, what is database. Just we got some idea on it. Now I'll show you 3 different websites where we are using different programmings. So if you see here Facebook web page login.php. So it is asking me login. See, every web page will ask you login. Without login, there is no web page. Why? Because if you log in, then only they can maintain your details in their database. They can maintain the number of users with their database. I cannot use my Yahoo account in Facebook. I cannot use Facebook account in Twitter. I cannot use Twitter account in any other place. So here, if you are developing any application, that application should interact with the server. See, here this is our front-end page. This is developed by front-end, our HTML programming only. But the server code, what here HTML code. You can see here, this is totally HTML code. Okay. We'll discuss that 6:30. Here we are writing here doc type HTML head and body. So you can see your content like this, doc type HTML head and body. Now here doc type, here it is a document type, HTML tag, head tag and body tag. You can write like this. Here doc type, here it is document type. Whatever document type we are using here, that doc type we use it here for creating our application. Here next we are using here doc type is a document type. You can see that complete information of this program HTML head. So by that I can understand this page is developed by HTML program. So once I submit my application, this data is reaching to PHP server page. So this is one URL. Here in this URL, this is URL. One example for front end is interacting with. Here this is our UI page. UI page always interact with the server page. That server page here a PHP page. PHP page will interact with database. This type of interactions you can observe here in every front-end programming. In every front-end programming, you can observe this type of interactions. Here, every front-end page will interact like this. Here, we are interacting over Facebook page. Facebook page is interacting with. Here, we are writing here Facebook page. That Facebook page is interacting with the PHP page. PHP is interacting with the server. So I will show you one more example here. Oracle create account. Here you can see that Oracle create account. So if you check that Oracle create account page, that is where HTML only. That web page is developed by HTML. See doc type HTML head and body. Here you can see that doc type HTML head and body. Here also you can see text boxes, button, radio button, drop down list, everything you can see. But I cannot use my Facebook account to log in Oracle. So that's why I have to create my account with this. Alright. So if I click sign in button here, suppose if I am clicking on the sign in button for my application, I can able to read my data. See, I can able to read my application, all zip code and all informations I can show you like this. Yeah, this way I can create. Here if I am interacting my Facebook page here, that Facebook page always interact with the server page, the server always interact with the database. These all interactions you can observe here in every front-end programming. In every front-end programming you can observe like that. So next we are going for here in front-end programming you can see this type of results. So now what I am doing here, this is what here front-end programming. In this front-end programming I am able to show my output to the user like this. The next one here, when I create my account with this Facebook, see here I want to sign in for my application. If I sign in here, I can show you that login page of my application. But observe here URL, this is JSP. Left right side you can see totally HTML coding, but here URL is JSP. JSP here, by this we can understand here server code. Here I am using here front-end code as well as server code here. This server code is developed by here UI page, it is interacting with a JSP page. JSP page is interacting with database. These all interactions you can observe here in every front-end programming. In every front-end programming, we can see that how we can create that server coding. Server coding here, UI page is interacting with the JSP page. The JSP page will store our data in database. These all you can observe here in every front-end programming. In the front-end programming, you can see this type of result. Next, we are writing here we can able to create our database, we can able to write our data like this. Next here I'm showing this front end page is interacting with the server page, server is interacting with database. These all interactions you can see. See one more example here, two different web pages here. One is PHP page, one is Java page. Okay. Here a similar way, if you check here W3 schools. W3 schools is one here I want to learn W3 schools Oracle. See ASP. Here if you check that output here ASP. ASP here it is active server page, it is related to .NET. Here ASP here it is active server page, it is related to .NET programming. So we are using here .NET programming to create our application. Here front end page is by HTML, so I am using here HTML programming. Here UI programming. This UI programming is interacting with the .NET framework, that is our ASP active server page. This will store our data in database. So what is common here? In 3 different websites, what is common here? Front end. So front end is common for every application. Server, databases, maybe anything, MySQL or SQL Server or Oracle or MongoDB or Sybase, any database. If you are developing your application here, that should be a front end component. Here, Facebook, Oracle, W3 schools, all are using our URL is interacting with the server page is always interacting with the database. These all important for every program, for every front end to server to database. Programming, this is very important. Okay, here front end always interact with the server page always interact with database. These all interactions you can observe here in every program. So as of now I am in front end programming. Under this front end programming I am discussing here how to work with HTML. So HTML is a hypertext markup language. It is mainly used for creating content of the web page. It is completely a tag based programming. We can create content part of the web page. Basic content of web page. We can create it using HTML. What is this content part? See here, this is one URL. Here if I remove body tag, see, you cannot see any content. So HTML body tag I am using here to write the content of the web page. To create the content of the web page, we are using here HTML body. So if I don't remove the body tag, if I remove the head tag, see I want to remove head tag of this application. Just delete it. So I removed that head tag, that output will come like this. Overlapping of content and images, videos, everything it is coming like this. If I develop my website like this, no one will use my site. So CSS, we write it inside the head part. So body part we write it total HTML tags. CSS here it is cascading style sheet. Here style part of the web page. So mainly style part of web page we can create it using